after our own women, and our own children down here. But you guys have become like the experts to us. Some of you, like, are university students. I want to keep saying this until the day I die. You're not our experts. We know how to take care of ourselves. We know how to take care of our people. This is fucked. Nobody wants to challenge this about oppression down here. You're building your organizations off the backs of our people in that. And once this stops, you will see us rise. And that's what you're afraid of too, because the women are getting stronger down here. We are building in a momentum. We've had enough. We came to VPD, back in about 1989. When I was taking a cab home, I was sodomized, I was raped, thrown out by the cab driver, by the clerk. We went up to the to the hospital, the VGH. The police officer came with me, 2 of them, and asked that he not press charges because his family, this man is a renowned chief. What type of retaliation, back at me? This came from from the police department. You know how many other women, are being targeted down here? And we keep getting re-victimized down here. Re-victimized over and over and over. There's residential school people, that are down here, that I'm watching these empires build, that started out with nothing down here. But yet, our people are still, the broken ones down here, who aren't getting, these service providers are supposed to be looking after. I've been involved with this movement, since '74. I've been involved with the murdered missing women since '86. There's women here, who've been here alongside of us, that you wouldn't even listen to us back then. There was Ann Drennan who was there, who wouldn't even listen to us. There was Dave Dixon, shoo the family up to the, at the missing persons place, where they were shut down up there too. Because I believe, and I will say this to you, I believe if that first murdered missing women's task force was doing their job, there should be at least 27 to 32 women alive and walking these very streets today. But nobody wants to challenge you on the first murdered missing women's task force, and they should be held accountable. Because once you go and investigate what they're doing, and I don't believe that you should be the ones that should be investigating your own. But I believe that you will find your answers right there. Because everybody has shunned this, and put this underneath the carpet and that. Why is the first murdered missing women's task force, why are they not being investigated? Yeah. Why aren't they? I still have been asking this.
What's up with that?
We worked with Don Adams the sergeant, like in Surrey and that, and what Don Adams says, on the very last day of the Picton trial, he said this is a cover-up, and he quit that very day. And I believe that that's what you're doing down here. And all these incidents that are still happening, I want to know, how many out of your sister watch, have been charged out of it. There's been 5 women that we've been working with who have been raped and sodomized and are afraid to come to you people. Why? Because your track record is really not that great in this community. I see, these women officers, they're great. These women officers are kick-ass down here. It's the men. Some of them should be locked up. These officers should be locked up. Down here. Because what they're doing to the women and the men down here is sickening. You don't see it, so we come forward, have to do a thing like, against the police, have to charge you. No, it will never happen to us. Because we're made to look foolish down here. But you know what, enough is enough in that. If you're talking about working with the community, why is it taking 69 women plus for you to finally sit in here with us, for the last few months in that, or 6 months, whatever you've been doing? Because I certainly don't, support what you're doing, because I haven't seen no changes down here. And we are out on those front lines, in those alleys, we go around, we go everywhere down here. And yet, I don't see nothing changing. All I hear, is a lot of lip service from you guys. That's all I hear.
Okay.
And like the one gentleman says, we want action in that, and, I as like a First Nations woman, I'm tired. I'm tired of your laws and that, and your laws is based on killing people, down here. Nothing's changed, like in 650 years plus in that. I want to know why it's taken so long. 69 women. And then like you got like the Sister Watch program here, and 69 women later, they shouldn't have taken even one or two or three or four, I'm frustrated with you guys.
Okay, so we would like to respond. So that's quite a lot. And we'll try and respond to all of that. So we have some anger and what we're trying to do. And we really appreciate the people that we down to the side who have worked with us.
You would have anger, heck, if like your mother was murdered down here, heck, your 2,000, like your sisters. If they weren't, if like the law is in place that you serve and protect, but you guys protect. Mr. Trombley's out, you're walking these streets. They're letting like these pedophiles, like these sex offenders right out in our community to repeat over.
So stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for
You're very
35 years.
condescending too.
So you said a lot, and thank you for that. And I know that you speak for many, I'm sure. There are some people that have some different perspectives, and that we really appreciate working with us. And so I'd like Shelley to just talk a little bit about what we have been doing in Sister Watch. And I know that there's some people that we've been working within the community on that. And so maybe we just tell you a little bit about that. And then you mentioned some of our policewomen that we have here. I'm sure a few of them were probably offended by their part, the talk about their partners and
Well, it's true.
Hitting the men against the women and so on. So, we would like to, speak to that. So thanks for sharing that. And maybe I'll just turn it over to Shelley and talk a little bit about, to Joanne to talk about what we've been doing with Sister Watch and working with the people that have been willing to work with us to try and collaborate and work so that together we can make the community safer.
One of the things that we heard at the last town hall meeting in November, and we listened, was the fact that there were no payphones anymore in the downtown east side. And we all learned from past lessons, but the reason that there weren't any payphones left is because the drug dealers were primarily using them to ply their drug trade, but also the phones were getting destroyed. But when it was brought up at the community meeting, it really struck home with us that, what? Not everybody does have cell phones or access to phones. They may not be able to get into a room house to make a call if they needed to call 911. So since from November until now, we've been able to accomplish what I think is a significant amount, and maybe Inspector Robinson could just give us an update on the payphones and where we stand with that so far.
Just stand so that everybody can see me. As the deputy suggested, I'll be Robinson, the inspector in charge of District 2, which is downtown east side. As Staff Sergeant Boyle was talking about, we secured 2 telephones. We're working very, very hard right now with our communication section to have them placed, one near Oppenheimer Park and one in the 300 Columbia, so that they're very robust. They're a direct line to 911 for anybody vulnerable, especially women or anybody else in the community that needs to get on the phone and get to 911 to have some attention. So this was brought forward to us, and this is the early start on getting that established. We're going to keep working on this to have them up and running and then get more phones to be placed in the downtown east side and elsewhere in the city if there's a need for that matter. We've also got works very closely with a lot of people in the downtown east side who presents phones, cell phones for 911 access. We try to make as many of those available as we can to get to the people who have the most need for them that are out and vulnerable. That would be the update at this point on the telephones.
And I know that 2 payphones don't seem like a lot, but there's a lot of logistical and technical things that have to take place. Like, is there power there? Are there phone lines existing or underground? TELUS has actually been extremely responsive in acting so quickly. I wasn't sure we were going to be able to accomplish so much. So while 2 payphones don't sound like a lot in the whole scheme of things, We're hoping that they're strategically placed in areas that will get to the people that need to use them. And we will continue to see how many more we can place with the assistance of TELUS.
So that's something that we heard here from people is that and just so we're clear, they're not pay phones.
Sorry, they're 911.
They're free. They phone directly to 911, and they're very rugged phones. And that's something that we heard from here, and so that's how we've responded. We're working hard to get those phones into the downtown Eastside.
Yeah, and just a little bit more about under Sister Watch, the tip line is ongoing. And I monitor along with Staff Sergeant Ross Jackson, who's at the back of the room and works in BET. We monitor those tip lines daily after they get answered and the intelligence is there. What I'm finding is there's two key things that are coming in on the tip line. People are using the tip line to report on drug dealing, and that's great because that information gets passed on to our BET members and to our drug squad. And they're also responding. I've had bus drivers call in because they've seen some activity around involving a sex trade worker, and they felt that she was maybe in a precarious situation or unsafe, and they chose to call the tip line. They've given us license